Aloha, my loves! Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is the new moon weekend, so I coming on to share a meditation and really talk about how important it is to synchronize your energy with the energy of the moon times, which can be the new moon, the full moon, and all the different times of the throughout the month, but especially as we are in the new moon, it's a wonderful time to really talk about and get clear about what you're letting go of, what you're calling in, and create a ceremony around that. One of the things that I always like to emphasize is that everything's always happening anyway. Like, we live in a cyclical existence. Whether we align with that intentionally or not, it's happening anyway. So we might as well become awake and aware and aligned and intentional around every single aspect of our lives. And that just makes life easier. And it also helps us to expedite our growth, our evolution, and our manifestations. So one of the things that really works for me that I do very often, I was just sharing with our group, is to synchronize kind of a cleansing and clearing routine as well as a journaling routine and like kind of a ceremony around the new moons and around the full moons. So this weekend is the new moon, and it's actually a couple days before and a couple days after, so it doesn't have to be the exact day, but I do encourage, if you can do it on the exact day, that's always really good. But basically, the first thing I like to do is cleanse my body. So a lot of times I'll do kind of like either one day of fasting or up to 3 days. So if it's 3 days, it's usually like the day before and the day after the moon, or if it's just one day, then it's going to be just the day of. But basically, what you want to do is just whatever works for you. You can do only liquids. You can do, for example, just green juices or just coconut water. I've done many times. Just water. You can do the goddess cleanse with the cayenne and the lemon, or you could do dry fasting with nothing. I've done all of these. They're all super potent, amazing, amazing. Because what it does is it clears out your gut, right? And the gut is where we create all of our happiness hormones, and it's also an aspect of our energy that can block the flow, right? So if we create more space there by cleansing that out, then we raise our vibration. Also, if you find yourself getting stuck in like lower consciousness thinking or patterns, or having things that are blocked in your root chakra specifically, sometimes doing a cleanse can help to clear that out and bring the energy up. I'll give an example. One time I have a lot of sexual energy, so I was having like this like overabundance of sexual energy, and so what I noticed was it just kept getting stuck down there, and I was like, man. So I decided to do a cleanse, and it was so amazing because even within one day it was like already like raised way up, and it was just in my heart, and it started going into the upper chakras. And so just like fasting, even for one day, can really elevate the energy and really shift some things depending on what's going on in your life. So I always encourage that around the new moon and the full moon, if you can, even if it's just one day. But if you do 3 days or more, that's wonderful. And I encourage this every month, but if you can't do it every month, just like, whenever you feel aligned with it. But the more you synchronize yourself in that way, then you get into like a rhythm and a pattern, and you start to see like everybody's life has challenges, right? So whatever's going on, as long as you're a human in a physical body, you're gonna have some kind of thing going on in your life that's a challenge in order to help you to grow. Like, that's the whole purpose of life. But how do we deal with these challenges, and how can we make life easier? And that's what this is all about. So flow state, to me, one of the important aspects about that is really like creating rhythms and patterns and cycles in our life that can help to support the process of evolution and growth, and with the greatest ease and grace and flow. So that's really what we're talking about. So that's one of the things, is kind of like cleansing and fasting. The other thing that I always encourage, if you're going to do cleansing and fasting, if you can, is to also do like colon hydrotherapy, because sometimes you'll be like, stop eating, but like things are not moving through still. You got to get it out. And so that's one of the important things. Now, the other thing that I always do is create kind of like a little bit of a ceremony at my with just myself, or if I'm with people, or I do it publicly. I've done it online and with our flow state tribe many times. But basically, I get out the journal. So if you wanted to do this, I would highly encourage. And just on one page, you're going to write, what am I letting go of? And then get really clear, what aspects of your life are you letting go of? Like, what's no longer serving you in your life? What are you ready? What have you outgrown as an aspect of your identity, of your patterns that you've been experiencing, even relationships, relationship dynamics, or any kind of blocks that are happening in your life? Like, what are you letting go of? That's number one. And the opposite of that is, what are you calling in, right? So you have your page of like, what am I letting go of? And then your page of what am I calling in? So once you get clear about those two things, now this is happening in a cyclical way. I feel like leave a comment, or you can chime in if you want to, but just to let me know if you feel like there's ever a time in your life that there's not something that you're letting go of or calling in, right? So it's like, usually that's like the cycle of life. Like, we're always in this process of letting go or calling something in. So like, just being intentional around that on the moon time amplifies the energy of that. The other thing that's really powerful is to be around water. Like, if you can take a hot bath, especially with Epsom salts, or go into the ocean or a lake or a waterfall or whatever you have, but just being immersed in water or around water can also amplify the energy, especially when connecting with the moon. So those are things that I always do. Yesterday I went in the ocean. It was really, really beautiful. It's been super hot. I live in Miami, so the ocean's kind of like a hot bath. But it was super nice, and just like connecting with the ocean water, looking out at the ocean, and really feeling the interconnectedness of the infinite intelligence of the divine that exists all around us, but also in the ocean. And also, the ocean represents the energy of this infinite abundance. And this is something that I highly encourage. If you go into nature, and this is another thing that I always encourage, go into nature, whatever aspect of nature reminds you of divinity the most, right? So if you love to be in the forest, or if you feel like the mountains does that for you, the ocean, the park, whatever it is, just go there and spend time there and connect in communion with nature, and really feel the infinite divine intelligence of nature. And as you feel that, and you start to synchronize your frequency with the frequency of that, then you start to like see, that you have infinite, support, love, abundance. Everything is available when you recognize that you are one with the creation, right? So then it helps you to kind of like raise your vibration to that level of trust and belief that whatever you are calling in is coming. Instead of like, oh, this is a pipe dream, I'm calling in these things, but it's probably not going to happen because, like, I don't deserve things. No, like, you deserve everything, and like, you are connected to infinite creative intelligence of the universe. So of course, what you dream of is coming. And also, I love this saying, which is, what you seek is seeking you. One of the things that I've heard over the course of my life so many times, that it resonates so deeply with me, is that you would not have a dream if it was not meant for you. And I want you to like let that sink in, because so often people have like this self-doubt concept where it's like, oh, I have this idea, but like, maybe it's not going to happen, kind of thing. But that's what sabotages it from happening. But like, the true reality of feeling like, yeah, of course, if I have this as an idea and it feels like resonant with my soul, and also the feeling that it keeps recurring, because it's one thing if you have an idea, but then it's just like a fleeting idea. Like, I don't know, if you've ever had that happen, you can leave a comment if you want. But basically, the idea that, if you have one idea that's fleeting and it never comes back, then maybe it was just like a passing thought. But if something comes to you and it keeps coming, and sometimes it gets stronger and more clear, okay, that's a very clear indication that this is something that you need to explore, because it wouldn't keep coming to you, especially strong, vivid, clear thoughts and ideas, if it wasn't something meant for you. And maybe it's something that's just meant to be explored. So you can kind of look at it and then really decide. It's like, we call this discernment, right? Decide if it's something that's going to be worthy of your time and your energy to explore deeper. But overall, don't just ignore your dreams, because your dreams are guiding you to your destiny. And the more that we are able to actually follow our dreams and move towards our destiny, the more we will see a life unfolding of divine synchron-destiny. I love the word synchron-destiny. I actually originally heard that word from Deepak Chopra like 20 years ago, but I've always resonated with the word. So synchron-destiny is a combination of two words, synchronicity and destiny. And what I like about that is, as you get into more alignment with the universe and also alignment with your own soul, what happens is, over time, like, synchronicity becomes a daily, regular experience, right? So if you're kind of like, wow, I just seem to have these synchronicities kind of a lot, well, that's a good sign that you're in alignment with your soul and with the universe. Great job. But if you feel like you never have any synchronicities and like your life have a lot of problems, then it's like, okay, well, maybe there's some clearing to do. So either way, whenever you get into the new moon or the full moon, but specifically we're talking about the new moon because that's what we have this weekend, that you want to kind of be clear about what you're letting go of and what you're calling it. So you write those two lists down, and I like to be as specific as possible. So, instead of just like, I'm letting go of being sad or something, be like, I'm letting go of the sadness that I feel around the breakup that I had, or whatever it is. So you just kind of want to be specific, but at the same time recognize that your intention is more important than what you write down. So like, knowing, like, the universe knows your heart, right? That's the interesting thing. So it's not like you have to be like, a lot of times people talk about this, like, you need to be so specific, it should be this, and put the numbers and blah, blah. You can do all that, and that's also good. But I feel like the universe knows your heart. Like, no words need to be said, honestly. But if we do get into the process of writing words, and especially on paper, then what we do is we pull this energy out of like the invisible realm and we put it on a tangible, physical part of the 3D reality that we live in, which is called paper and pen. So once you do that, and that's why actually journaling with a real paper and a real pen is more effective and more powerful than, like, for example, typing it on your phone or your computer, although both of those are very good too. But just like being in connection with a physical paper, physical pen, that makes it more real, more tangible, and more in the 3D reality. So it's actually manifesting already, just as soon as you write it down. Now, you can leave a comment and let me know if you've ever had this experience where you've written something down and it manifested, right? And have you ever had that happen and it actually happened exactly as you had put it down? Or like even better, right? One of the things I like to put in there is you can say this or something better, right? Because then that's a nice way to kind of leave it open that maybe the universe has something better in store for your life than even your imagination could go and explore. So in that sense, I like to leave it a little bit open for the possibility that it could be even better. And that's one of the things that one of my good friends, Sula, always says. She has a saying that's basically, how does it get better than this? So if you use this mantra, like in your life, like maybe your life's great, and then you can still ask this question, how does it get better than this? And keep asking that like every day, and pretty consistently, like regularly ask that question of the universe, and let the universe surprise you with beautiful miracles all the time. Like, oh, okay, well, she's ready for something even better than this. Let's show her what we got. And sometimes it happens like that. And that's happened to me, most recently. I was sharing with some of the members of our tribe about a new project that I'm working on that literally I feel like it's better than my wildest dreams. And it was really cool how it manifested because sometimes, and I want to share about this because this is part of that like letting go and then calling things in process, because this literal like manifestation came to me after like what felt like the biggest like crash of my life, in the sense that I was doing I had a partnership with a company, and then they just completely like canceled it and everything, just out of the blue for no reason. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, it felt like blindsided, so sometimes like you put your heart and soul in one direction, and then it feels like something cuts it off, and you don't, there's no real reason for it, and so you ask, like, why did things like that happen, right? And then I remember after that happened, I was just like, wow. And it made me reevaluate, like, okay, well, what about that was important to me? And then, what about that is aligned with the purpose of my soul in a way that I can get clear on, so that I can call it in a better way that's more aligned, right? It can happen like that with relationships too. Like, let's say you're in a relationship and then it's like it doesn't work out for whatever reason, or like whatever, you have a career. It could be also like a friendship, whatever the thing is that's going on. But like, let's say something that you thought was aligned all of a sudden reveals itself that it's not, right? So like, what do you do around those situations? So what I was looking at it in a new way, instead of feeling like a victim, like, oh, this happened to me. Instead, I was like, okay, well, what's the lesson? And what was it about that was so important to me, or felt so aligned? So once I got clear on that, and I was just like, the process of letting go of it, meaning like, okay, I'm not going to hold on to this feeling bad or something. I'm just going to let it go. And like utilizing all the practices that I have in my life that I teach in the Flow State Institute to let go of that energy, whatever it was, in order to just allow whatever the universe wanted. That's that something better that I was talking about. Like, if you say this or something better, to come in. Because I don't know if you guys have ever seen the meme. It's like a cute meme that always comes to my mind, and it's basically this little kid standing there with this teddy bear in front of Jesus. And Jesus is standing there with his hand out, telling the kid to give the teddy bear to him. And the kid's like, no, but I want to keep it. And behind his back, he has a bigger one. He has this huge teddy bear behind his back, and he wants to take the small one to give him the big one. But the little kid doesn't see the one behind his back, and he's just like holding on to this tiny teddy bear, like with his dear life, like, oh, if I lose this small one, then I'm never gonna have anything. And that's kind of what happens in life, I feel like, a lot of times, where we want to like hold on to the small thing, and like with this attachment of like, there's probably nothing better on the other side of letting go of this small teddy bear. But then the meme is so perfect because you can see the big one back there just waiting. So I feel like that's how it is a lot of times. And there's a saying that goes very popular, saying that when one door closes, many more are opening, right? So usually the ones that are going to open when the one closes are better, right? Usually. It's very rare that this one closed and then these are all crap. Or like these are all shut too and you're just stuck there with no doors. That literally never happens in my experience. I don't know, maybe for some people, but I doubt it. It's almost like that's just not how the universe works. So we have to be very, very trusting in that. And that's like a whole process of flow, is also like learning to trust the universe, learning to trust in your own worthiness and deservingness of something better all the time coming. And to know that what's better for you is not necessarily what's better for someone else even. It's just like your unique destiny is going to be revealed to you every step of the way. So anyway, okay, so as you're doing the thing, letting go, calling in, I'll share the rest of the story about what happened with me. So basically, it took a good month of meditation and all the things that I do to fully let the other thing go. I'm not instantaneous at these things, and I don't expect anyone else to be. Now, sometimes it does happen that way. I mean, every now and again, you just let something go immediately, and it's just like, oh, that was so easy. Usually there's a process. Okay, that's why I teach processes. Because if you learn how to let go, it doesn't mean it's immediate, but you can do it with time. And you have to keep doing it. I remember the first time I learned about that was when I was 20, very early in my 20s, and I had this breakup, and I went through this whole thing, and it was when I went to my first yoga teacher training. And I went because my heart was broken and I was depressed as I had this breakup, and I was going through a spiritual transformation, and I didn't know what to do because I thought my life was literally over. I was like, there's no purpose to life. And I went to the yoga teacher training, and every day we had to do Shavasana in between every yoga pose. It was a very specific yoga style where you just do a yoga pose and then Shavasana, like over and over. So it was very good for me because I was like A-type. I never laid down. I didn't ever breathe. So that was like really good for me to just lay there and breathe. And I had this mantra, which was just inhale, let, exhale, go. So every inhale I would be let, and every exhale was go. And just processing the letting go over and over with this breathing, which was like super simple breath work. But I would put that breath work with above or like on the same level as any other breath work in terms of the power that it had for healing and transforming my energy and helping me to let go. Because in the end of the day, like that's truly the number one skill that you can ever learn, is how to let go of what's not serving you so that you can create space to allow the bigger teddy bear, right? Or to allow the better doors to open. But as long as we're holding on to a tiny teddy bear and like whatever, the attachment to the old thing, then we can't allow the new thing in. So anyway, long story short, I did that and it healed me. And that's how I got more kind of like belief in the whole yoga practice, honestly, because I was like, holy man, just this breathing mantra thing, it healed my whole life. I mean, I swear to God, I was like, I gotta tell everyone. And that's how I started my YouTube channel. I'm like, everyone needs to learn this, it's healing me. And it healed me so much, and I reached millions of people by just sharing. And that's why I always say, people in my teacher training, I'm like, you guys should be doing a YouTube channel. Just share what's in your heart, share what you're going through, share what you're learning, because there are people who need that medicine that you have, and only you can deliver it in your unique way. And for me, as I was starting out, I mean, my videos are terrible back then. I mean, if you see my videos from 2006, I mean, they're like so old and crappy, but they still reached millions of people. And it was because of the authentic intention to, you know, spread the healing medicine that I was really experiencing during the early part of my journey. So anyway, I'll just finish the rest of my story. I won't go into my whole life. But basically, this recent experience, and I did this month of letting go. And then at the end of it, one morning, and I shared this not long ago, some of you might know this story, but one morning, I was sitting on the beach with my puppy, mi amor, because every day we go and we have to go outside because she has to go to the bathroom. So we go outside in the morning, usually like sunrise, and I live on the beach. So I go to the beach. And we were meditating in the sunrise, and there was like nobody around. So it's like almost like out of a movie, honestly, because this guy literally came out of nowhere, out of just the sunrise, you know. And he's like this amazing, like 74. He's an older guy, 74-year-old genius. He's like one of the #1 top architects in the entire world. He was actually given an award, Architect of the Year, for being a genius, and he's created this incredible concept which is called dynamic architecture. And basically it's a new kind of architecture where they are building these buildings that are completely sustainable, that they produce all their own energy, solar and wind, and it's like a rotating tower that produces its own solar and wind energy. It's like the coolest thing ever. I can't wait to share more about that publicly. But anyway, so he developed this idea like 15 years ago, and when he first shared about this in 2008, his whole idea went viral. He was on CNN and Time Magazine and Wall Street Journal and New York Times, and everyone in the world was like, this is the most interesting thing I've ever seen, and they put it on the front cover of every media outlet in the planet. And it's interesting. Anyway, so now he's actually going to be finally building the tower after all these years. It took him all these years. Imagine the discipline, the commitment, the tenacity to, you know, for 20 years putting together this massive vision. It's like $1 billion project. And anyway, and we ended up talking, and because my puppy ran up to him and was hanging out, and like Mia Moore's like so friendly, and she became friends with him. And Mia Moore, she has two names, Mia Moore and Amore, and so one of her names is Italian and one of her names is Spanish, but anyway, the guy's Italian. So long story short, we ended up really hitting it off. I don't know, we just had like a soul connection, me and this Italian guy, and he ended up hiring me to come onto his company and be like the director of the whole media of this company. We're going to be making documentary films and stuff, like, which is something I've dreamt about my whole life. I wanted to make documentary films about the flow state, about the children of the future, about all these things that I'm so passionate to share in this bigger way. And then we're going to make a documentary about the dynamic architecture, which I'm calling Dynamic Renaissance. It's going to be a whole film. But anyway, it was just like the coolest thing because it combines so many of my passions into one really cool, opportunity that came along, like literally just after letting go of this big letdown situation that felt like, WTF, whatever you want to say. Let's see. Floor says, sometimes it happens for a few weeks, but never forever. Yeah, exactly. Madison, incredible manifestation, Dashama. I call those God stories. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's a unique thing. So I call this divine synchron destiny, right? So it's like the universe was redirection. So I never think of things as what you call like rejection, right? So if something happens and it feels like that, why did that not work out? Some people might take it personally, like that was a rejection. And if you take it personally, then you feel you go into a victim mode. The victim mode is like, oh, this is happening to me. And I like to flip the switch and say, how is this happening for me? What is the lesson? What is the blessing? And how can I let it go and grow from this so that I can get to a better place? And so anyway, long story short, it just like all manifested beyond, like what I say, beyond my wildest dreams in this sense. And a lot of other things have been happening that are just like really, really huge, but I can't share everything right now. Actually, everything I just told you is also kind of top secret, so don't tell anybody yet. Because we're going to be making a big announcement. We're going to be actually announcing the whole project in about a month. We're going to do a big press conference, and with the governor and the mayor and all these people are involved in this project because it's a huge project. It's going to bring a lot of jobs to Florida and to the world. I mean, it's just a huge, huge thing. So let's see, can't put it on YouTube or don't put it on YouTube. Yeah, I might have to make this video private. So if you're watching this on YouTube, don't tell anybody. But anyway, long story short is that I wanted to share that so that you could see that sometimes as you have to let go of the old to allow the better alignment of energy to come. And that's really what, the story was about. And if there's something in your life that feels like that for you, that's what this process is about. So hopefully you'll do it and write down what you're letting go of, write down what you're calling in, and really breathe on it, breathe on the letting go and breathe on the calling in. And the calling in is a beautiful breath, it's like, and it's a calling in and a feeling of a worthiness around it. It's like a deservingness. It's a naturalness. It's not, it's not like, oh, I want these things or I wish these things would happen or manifest. It has to be a feeling of gratitude that it's already manifested. And that's one thing that I really emphasize when it comes to manifesting is that, you really want to, they say, there's like people who say it like this, like act as if, feel as if, be as if. So it's like when we say as if, it means that it's already done. So that's my favorite affirmation is, I'm so happy and grateful it all worked out. Like it's already done. It's done. So like it's not like, oh, one day. Instead it's like it's done, it's here. So it's like timeline jumping, they call that, or quantum jumping. quantum leaping, whatever you want to call that. But basically the idea that it's already done, it's already manifested, you're living that reality right now. Now, the more that you can feel that that's true for you, then things happen faster, right? Because it's like you're already living in that reality, so then the universe has to like deliver it to you, because it's like, oh, okay, here you are. So that's really what I feel about everything. Anything that you're calling in, it has to be like that. But when it comes to like the what you're calling in list, the meditation around those things, I would encourage you to practice that, right? So it's like the feeling as if, or the gratitude around it already being done. So that's the secret to the manifestation practice. You can also burn the list of what you're letting go of, which is a nice thing to do. So there's different ways of doing it. I mean, there's lots of different practices. I had another one that I've taught a lot that I learned from my friend Lior about the water method, the 2-cup method, where if you have an empty cup and a full cup, and then you pour the empty cup into the full cup, and the empty cup is what you're letting go of, and the full cup you drink down while you're thinking of the new things and you're bringing those things in. So there's different symbolic ways of doing that, can be really nice and actually very effective. I've had a lot of success with those things. So I have videos in our online yoga teacher training about all of these. I've done ceremonies, a lot of our replays. You can go back and practice those in our ceremonies with us. Over the last few years, we've recorded almost every session that we've had, so it's been really, really beautiful. Let's see, Flor says, I like the cup one, you did it once. Yeah. Medicine, simple and meaningful, yes. So anyway, so that's kind of the message of today, and I highly encourage, like I said, to do these practices, these rituals around the new moon, around the full moon, and just get into a habit of synchronizing yourself with the energies that you're letting go of and calling in, and recognizing that it's almost just like going to the bathroom. It's that simple. You need to eat and you need to go to the bathroom. Eating is the calling in. What are you bringing in? Going to the bathroom is what are you letting go? Every day you do both of those, right? So we're always in this process. It's the same thing with the skin cells. The skin cells, you're always shedding old cells, and then your body is naturally producing new cells. So literally it's happening in every single aspect of our bodies, our life, nature. It's the same. Leaves fall off the tree, and then the cycle goes through the winter, and then the new spring flowers are blooming. So it's like the process of this cyclical existence is evident everywhere in nature, and we are nature. So of course it's happening with our lives and with the universe. And so we just synchronize with the universe. And also, like I said, get really, really aligned with what you know you want and deserve, and then just trust that it's coming. It doesn't have to be like this big to do. I think sometimes that blocks the flow of the manifestation, is like wanting it too much, being attached to having it, or attached to it coming. So it's like, oh, why didn't this come yet? Like if you have a thought in your mind of why didn't it come yet, that's blocking it, right? Or if you have a thought in your energy at all that's like not the feeling of not having it, that's blocking it. So it's like very tricky. You have to just like literally, that's why I was saying that whole process of let go is the secret of everything in life coming. Because you can't hold on to it if you want it to come, because the energy of holding on is actually a resistance, and it's a pushing away. And if you let go, it can come. So this is the interesting thing about energy, and especially the energy of feminine energy, is the energy of receptivity, of allowing, of flow, of receiving. All of that is the feminine energy. So when we're in the opposite, the doing, the forcing, the attachment, those are the masculine energies. So the more that, like, the energy of flow is actually the divine feminine, the more that we can truly surrender to our divine feminine energy. And it's nice because we're all women in this group today, especially, but the more that we can connect with that, even if you're a man, right? So it doesn't have to be that you are a woman, but just the divine feminine itself, the allowing, the letting go. Now, here's an interesting thing I just want to mention really quick, because I found that in life it's a little tricky, because we live in a world now where men sometimes are more feminine than women in that sense, where they're more in their feminine than women. And I think that this is something that's been difficult for me over my life because I'm a very creative person, a very ambitious person, motivated, have a lot of energy. I like to serve the world and do a lot of good things for the planet and for the humanity. So those are tricky because it can be like kind of a masculine energy, right? So you're just like creating and doing, and like it's a lot of output. So the process of learning how to shift modes or how to live in that balance of both. Because some people are way too in their feminine. They like literally never get anything done forever, or like, you know, they're just kind of like allowing all the time. And some men are like that. And I found especially a lot of spiritual men can be too much in the feminine sometimes. And then they kind of expect women to take the lead a lot. And I feel like this has become an imbalance between physical males and females in that sense, because there's like a blurring of the lines of who's the masculine, who's the feminine. And I've had this experience in many regards with different relationship dynamics, and it was like very difficult for me because I know I'm a very feminine person, but when it comes to when I'm around very feminine men, it makes me more masculine dominant energy because I just compensate for them like not taking the lead. And then our polarity is off, and then it becomes problematic for any relationship dynamics to really sort of flow properly. But like, I found that women who are strong, powerful, independent leadership type women have to be with one of two kinds of men. They either have to be with a man that's extraordinarily confident in his masculinity and dominant, and so he can take the lead even if she's strong, he's stronger. Or beta type men who are not dominant, not masculine, not the leader, sort of A type at all, and then they just have an agreement around the fact that the woman is the leader. So those are the two types of dynamics that work. I think anything else, there's too much conflict and there becomes competition where you're kind of both a little bit similar and you don't have a clear indication of, you know, just like the leading energy. Doesn't mean that you have to surrender your leadership to someone, but just the energy of it, like to feel safe in the presence of a man, to feel that a man is in his masculine enough that he could hold you in a secure, safe, sacred way, that you can trust that you could surrender into the feminine. I think that that's what all women really want. So if any men are watching this, I really want to emphasize this because I personally feel it's part of my mission on earth at this point now, after a lifetime of observing and experiencing this, is to communicate a little bit more around this to men so that men can rise into their divine masculine and take the lead and help women to feel safe and held and supported in a way that doesn't feel demeaning, doesn't feel repressive, but is very encouraging and supportive and allows a woman to bloom more fully into her divine feminine, so that she can be all that she can be and still fulfill her dreams and goals without there being some kind of like confusion around polarity. So anyway, I think this is a longer conversation than we have today, but I just wanted to mention it because it's something that's on my heart all the time almost when it comes to male and female, especially spiritual people, because the spiritual community tends to have blurred lines around, like I said, this masculine feminine dynamic, whereas some of the more old-fashioned kind of men-women dynamics, although some people will say they're archaic or whatever, but at least there was a clear understanding of what role was what, you know, so it wasn't like a confusion. That's where we're at in the world right now, because women's liberation made women like rise more into their power, which is good, but also it became difficult to figure out how do you live in this male-dominated power role without being masculine. So there's like this interesting transition that's been happening on earth with humanity, specifically between males and females for a little while now since the female liberation movement, and I think it's kind of like gonna iron itself out, but in the meantime I thought I would just like bring this up as a conversation because I think a lot of the things that we experience in life that are difficult either are usually around one of three things. It's usually relationship dynamics, career and finances, or your health. Those are like the three main things that people struggle with generally. Now, there are other things, but those are the top three, I would say. So if those are challenges for you, which are most people, then at least one of them, then the important thing is to really look at, like these different aspects. So is it the masculine feminine dynamic that's needing to be more deeply understood and embodied in your life and in your relationship dynamics, or with the relationship to money, for example? That's another one. But I think that the dynamic around abundance is a whole bigger topic that I can go into. Maybe next week we'll talk about that in our live session. But I just wanted to mention with the abundance topic, the interesting thing that I've learned over my life, because I rose from a very, very strange place. When I was a little kid, my parents had no money, and we had like food stamps and everything. I mean, we lived in foster care. We were like very, very, what I would say, impoverished for America. I mean, we were in America, so like at least we weren't living in a box, but ultimately we were receiving free food. So it was a low level of abundance. And when there was a lot of poverty consciousness that I was indoctrinated into me as a result of that. Now, I have learned over the lifetime that I've had of reprogramming my consciousness around abundance is that it's a continuous journey, because there's always more expansion to be had around the energy of abundance. And just when you think you've figured it out, there's another level to go. And there's also usually like another layer to peel away from the onion of poverty consciousness. And what you can see, one thing that I'll mention about this is usually the clearest indication that you have a block around the abundance is the first thought or the first feeling that you get when somebody brings up money. So for example, if someone's like you want to do a retreat, let's just say, and this happens sometimes to people, and then that's why it's a good point. So some people want to come to our yoga teacher trainings and retreats, and our programs are not the cheapest. I mean, I'm going to admit that. They're not the most expensive, but they're not the cheapest. And the reason is because we offer a very high quality program, and also because we usually do it in luxury environments. So it's like the costs are higher and the program is better than everything else that's out there. So we know that, and we're just charging like a reasonable amount. But the point is, some people, they're looking only they're like Walmart shoppers, right? They're just looking at prices, and they're like, well, I could do that one for this and yours is this. Why are you charging so much? And then they just charge price to price and not seeing value to value. That's one thing. But the first thing you want to ask yourself is, when you see something that you want, is the first feeling you get, yes, I'm going to make this happen? Or is it, oh my God, I wish, but it's not possible for me? Because if you have that first feeling of inclination, that gut instinct or feeling of like, it's not going to happen for me based on the money alone, that's a poverty block, right? That's a poverty consciousness that needs to be cleared. And the other thing is also sometimes around time, because time and money are very inextricably linked, right? So if you have this same energy around time, which is, I wish I could do that, but I could never get the time off, or I could never go for that long, that's the same energy or relationship to the block around the flow of abundance, because the feeling is, it's not available for me. Now, the abundance of the energy of abundance is that everything is available for you. That's abundance. Like literally everything in the universe is available for you always, and like infinite. But to whatever degree that you feel that something is not available to you, however realistic that is, because you could be like, yeah, because I don't have the money in the bank. Well, that's okay, because sometimes you don't have the money in the bank right now, but if you want to manifest something, you can get it to happen. I've had that happen so many times in my life and also in my career. Like, for example, I've had people that wanted to come to our teacher trainings and retreats, and I just remember this one girl so distinctly, because she was like, I really want to come, but I don't have any money, and I was like, I bet you if you put it out there, you will manifest the money. And I was like, I'm gonna challenge you to do this. And she was like, okay, I accept the challenge. Literally within a few weeks, she messaged me and she said, I got the money. And I was like, oh, how'd you do it? She's like, I just put it out there. I told my grandmother what my dream was to come to Bali and do the teacher training, and she gave me the money. I was like, I told you. See, you You never know. You just have to ask, and the universe will provide. And think about it, your grandmother, she's not going to ask for that money back. She wants to support you in your dreams, and she wants to see you happy. Like, the universe is your grandmother in that sense. Like, it will provide in some uniquely beautiful way that you don't even realize. Like, how do you know what? Just ask and just trust. And if you really believe that you are inextricably connected to this divine infinite intelligence that is God, consciousness that is the universe, then of course ask and it is provided. You know what I'm saying? Let's see, I have Madison saying something here. I have completely struggled with both of those things my whole life because of also growing up in the poverty and having parents who struggle financially to this day, actively working on embracing abundance. But it is definitely as challenging to break the mental cycles. Jumping into this program was a huge surrender and embracing my dreams. I'm so proud of you, Goddess, because I know exactly, that's one of the reasons, to tell you the truth, that we charge a little, not a like huge price, but we charge a little more, because I want people to really step out of these blocks to the money thing. Like, if I gave my program away for $20, nobody would do it. They would literally not value it, and then they would never get anything out of it, first of all. So I've had that happen. I've actually given my program, like, for example, as a gift to a family member, and they literally never did it. Okay, so like, the less you pay for something, the less you value it. So that's a known fact. So somehow in our society, we have created a correlation in our consciousness between the amount that we pay and the value it has. So that's why I like to actually charge a little bit, not like a low price, because I want people to literally value it, do the program, graduate, get everything out of it, feel that they're sucking the marrow out of this juicy, amazing program, and like go on and create an incredible life around this. But it also includes so much. I mean, there's like the Master Business Academy is included for free. So it's actually, the whole program is charged, the price is low for like everything that you get. But like that alone, the business training that's included, is so valuable, because if you applied even one of the things that I teach in there, you could make a 6-figure income. No matter if you do the training or not, no matter if you ever go on to teach yoga, you could literally just apply that to anything in business and succeed in life. And so I know that, because I have a business degree from college. So I just like want everybody to understand, so that you can see that when I created everything that I offer to the world, it's not, actually, it was never really for money. Honestly, like, I did all this because I was like, I know that this is a gift that I have and that I'm meant to share with others so that they can experience the same level of incredible life that I had the opportunity to live. Like, for example, one of the things that I learned from traveling the world as a world traveling teacher of this amazing path of yoga and meditation and healing flow state practices is that it's a gift. Like, actually, I appreciated it the whole time, but now that I look back on the life that I had, I traveled to almost every country. I got paid to teach all over the world. You can do that too. That's why I'm like, I love to share that and like to be able to pass that on to others that have that dream. I'm at a place in my life now, as I'm in my older age, I'm 41, and I don't really have the same desire to travel the world teaching like I used to. So that's why I'm like, I'm in a place where I want to pass that baton to others and let you do it, and like you have an infinite opportunity. And actually, it's better timing now than when I was doing it, because now everybody wants to do yoga. Like, back then, I had to like literally explain why you should be doing yoga. Now nobody needs even to hear that. They already know they should be doing yoga. They do yoga at the White House. The Queen of England is doing yoga. Everybody's doing yoga. So everybody knows they should be doing yoga. So you don't have to sell it. You're just like, hey, I'm doing a yoga retreat. People like, okay, I want to come. So like, ultimately, it's better timing for you than it ever was for me. I went through the School of Hard Knocks, building my school for 17 years with blood, sweat, and tears, so that I could create this program that I can pass this wisdom on to you, so you don't have to struggle like I did, and save you probably $1 million in training that I had to pay and learn the School of Hard Knocks to be able to learn all this. And I put it together in a really incredible program. And we have the online training and we have the Bali training. So you can either come to the live training in Bali with us in January, or do the program fully online. And actually, we're going to be filming some more of the workshops in Bali this January, and so we'll actually be adding 100 hours more. So we're going to have a 300-hour online training option for people, and then we'll still have the hybrid program with the retreat combined with the online. So we'll have both, but a lot of people have been requesting that. And so we're gonna film some more of our workshops. It'll be really new, awesome, like advanced content. Also, for anybody in our community that already has the 200 or 500 hour certification, we actually also are opening it up for people who want to be leaders in the Flow State Institute to be with us in Bali this January and to learn how to lead the yoga teacher training retreats. And this is something that I'm super excited about passing on and sharing with our tribe and creating. We have about 10 leaders that are going to be there this year that are going to be training to learn how to lead these, and so that as I transition into my new exciting direction that I'm going with my life, that you guys will be able to lead these training retreats for us, for the Flow State, and travel the world and do what you love and take that and run with it and have a template that's already proven success and effective that you can follow, that you don't have to create the wheel. And I created that wheel for a long time, and it's really great and everyone loves it, and it's super powerful and healing and transformational medicine. And so there's so many things that you can do with it once you get into the tribe. You're welcome, Madison. Thank you for your beautiful messages. Yeah, I see you being a leader, Madison, and hopefully you're gonna run with it just as much as your heart feels that you want to, and know that you always have the support of our tribe. That's one of the things that I always wanted when I was going through these 17 years of learning, teaching, practicing, is that I never had anybody hold my hand, be like, hey, let me help you. Never. Almost like never. You know, it was just like me doing everything and learning it all and like figuring it out. So that's why I was like, I want to be that teacher. I want to be the one that's like, yeah, I've actually helped a number of my graduates start their own school even. Like, I'm not even a person that's like super competitive. Like, if you end up starting your own school, I'm proud of you for that. Like, I feel happy to see the perpetuation of these teachings because it's what the world needs, But I'm super excited because we have huge things happening with the Children of the Future initiative as well. I just wanted to mention that because I don't know if you guys saw, but I ended up getting a letter of endorsement from the Vice President, Kamala Harris. She sent me a letter telling me she's excited to work with us, and I felt so happy to see that, because in the end of the day, like, the more support we can get, the better. And actually, I'm going to be having a introduction with the superintendent of the Miami-Dade School County soon, and that's exciting because that's the 4th largest school district in the U.S. We have 40,000 teachers and I think 330,000 kids in this school district, and we're going to be talking to them about bringing our program into this entire district, which is huge, huge, huge. And so anybody that's in our program that's a part of our tribe, that's a leader with us, you'll be invited to help with that because it's going to be a huge initiative. We need a lot of help and support from our teachers to be able to help with that once we get these accounts kind of like all organized and stuff. We also have the California charter schools that we're working with, and we're going to be at the conference in Sacramento in March for the Children of the Future. So a lot of things have been moving forward really, really, at the pace that they're meant to, apparently. So I'm happy to see, it all unfolding in divine time. And that's another part just to emphasize, sometimes we have our idea of timing, but there's like our timing, and then there's the universal timing, divine timing, I call it. So divine timing is what we can trust. Our timing is our ego. Like, I'm like, I wanted it yesterday. It's like, yeah, well, sorry, that's not the timeline. So let go of that, But for me, I'm like, okay, I can see how, like, the saying, I don't know if you guys have ever heard this saying, which has to do with, like, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, which has to do with this concept of divine timing, right? So it's like, you literally can't have something until you're ready. So sometimes you think you're ready and you're not, right? So like if you were ready, you'd have it. Like, if you were ready, it'd be there. So, like, for me, I mean, I literally built this whole program for like 17 years. And the Children of the Future, I started with this 17 years ago. But, like, the specific program that we're working with right now, I've been building for like around 2 years. So for 2 years, we've been organizing this programming with the Art of Living Foundation, Choose Love Foundation, and my foundation, the Bright Future Foundation. We've been organizing this for the past 2 years, which is a long time, like even 2 years, but I mean, 17 is a long time, but 2 years is still a big commitment. But when you're building something, you never really know the timeline, right? So you're just building it. So what helps through that process to not give up is to keep checking in with what I call the North Star. So your North Star is your purpose of life. Like, if you know what you're working on is like directly aligned with your purpose of life, that will always guide you through all those moments when you want to quit. And trust me, there's going to be a lot of times when you want to quit. Like, it's hard. Like, sometimes you want to give up because you're like, man, I wanted to be here and I'm not there yet. Like, let me just give up. And a lot of people do give up. And I always have these visuals. So, like, I think of this meme, this guy, he's like underground and he's like chiseling with a pickaxe and he's like digging a hole. And like, he's literally like this far away, and on the other side, if he would just keep going, there's like this huge pot of gold, and he gives up because he got tired of going and not getting there, and so he just turned around, and that's like such a metaphor, because so many people give up right before the miracle, or right before the manifestation, or right before the blessing or the divine timing aligns for you. And so that's when it comes to, like I was saying, this idea of the North Star. So as long as you stay connected with the North Star and you know that what you're working on is directly connected to your soul's purpose of life, and then also working with the energy of letting go and surrendering to allow the universe to step in and be more sort of like involved. It's not like all you or like the ego that's trying to make something happen. That's when I feel like we have these divine synchron destiny moments. So I just wanted to mention that. Let's see, we have some more comments. Madison said, Children of the Future is so aligned with my life goals. This is all so exciting. I know, I'm so excited for you to be a part of this. Dashama, everything you say, I'm just like, oh my God, yes. When the student is ready, me accepting I need to do a teacher training, you literally just appeared in my life. Oh, I love that. I called myself a notorious quitter before I learned about the laws of the universe and manifestation. It's true. Like, I actually used to be, I was never like a super big quitter, but once you learn about these universal laws, then it makes it easier to not give up on things that are really important. It's okay to quit things if it's not like your destiny, right? Like, I remember when I was in college, I actually was, I took 6 months to study and like thousands of dollars to learn how to become a commodities broker and also a real estate agent. Both of those two things, I spent lots of months, many, many months, and thousands of dollars. And in the end, I only did the thing like 1 month and I just gave up. And I was like, it wasn't for me. And it was just an interesting thing, like what you're talking about, this energy of being a quitter. Hey, by the way, it's 11:11. I'm going to just say a little prayer for us since it's 11:11. We want to thank the universe, divine guidance, the source of life, for this beautiful, beautiful opportunity for us to come together as a tribe, as a community, and connect on the new moon and really align ourselves with the divine energy of the universe, our divine North Star, purposes of life, and knowing that as a community, as a tribe, that we are connected for a divine purpose, and that you are here, I am here, because we are meant to be here, and that everything is truly unfolding in divine and perfect order, in divine and perfect timing, according to the universal plan of your unique soul's unfolding. So we trust that, and we are grateful for that, and we are grateful for all of our dreams manifested with ease and grace and flow, abundance, joy, and love. Deep, deep gratitude and appreciation, feeling aligned and in harmony with the universe. And we feel our hearts are open, our minds are open, our energy is clear, and we are grateful. So it is. This is what we were talking about earlier with how like the chalice is so cool because you can direct it and the energy goes like, and so it's a really nice healing tool. When I started out, I was like kind of more of a healer. I was a teacher and a healer, and so I would do both. And so people would come to me for healing sessions, and I created like a whole healing space in my place at the time. And I had a healing room, and I used to do like Thai massage and healing sessions and meditation and lots of cool stuff. And it was really fun to work with people on that level. And so if you're in our tribe and community, I also very much encourage that. And you know, people, it's such a good combination if you teach yoga and meditation and also do healing work or Thai massage. Or I also worked with prenatal and kids and families and corporate, and I was trying all the different options available so that I could find where I felt the most joy. Like really, when it comes down to what do you enjoy the most, because that's what you're going to stick with. So as you explore the different options and opportunities that we have within the Flow State Institute, I encourage you to keep an open heart and an open mind and really just tap into your feelings of what you enjoy the most along this journey, because that's going to be a strong indication of where you should focus your energy, because those are usually indications of your unique North Star guiding you. Okay, let's see. I don't remember what I was talking about, but I think we were getting close. Medicine says, and so it is. Thank you for that. I was told recently by this incredible lady that I am a healer, and that feels very aligned. Yes, of course you are, definitely. You know, one thing I want to mention about, does your path have a heart? What do you mean? Oh, I see.
It's a saying I heard 2 weeks ago. Like, if
Okay.
your path has a heart, then you know you're on the right track. If you think, okay, has the things that I'm doing today, have those things a heart? Can I feel it in my heart? Then it's okay. If you think, oh no, I hate it, it's not for you.
That's exactly right. That's kind of what I was saying about checking in. Where's your joy? One of the ways that I like to say it is follow your bliss. Like really your bliss is your heart. It's your feeling of joy. It's your feeling of good energy flowing, the flow state. This feeling that yes, I'm on the right path. You know, like yes. Like if you're feeling this yes energy, then that's a clear indication to move forward. So it's one of those things that, you know, we're always refining our ability to listen to that guidance system and follow it. And I feel like the more we are able to do that, then the easier life can flow. And so flow state becomes a day-to-day, moment-to-moment experience of surrender, trusting, letting go of what's not in alignment, allowing what the guidance is coming through to bring you to the next level. So with that, I will let you guys go for today. I just wanted to pop on and give you some love and the new moon ceremony. Hopefully you'll go ahead and do that. Feel free to reach out to me or connect on any of my social media, Instagram, TikTok, here on YouTube, or what else do I have? Twitter even? I have everything. Facebook. Connect and say hi and stay connected. And if you've been thinking of joining us in Bali, we do have space available, and it's going to be the most incredible, and it will be my last one that I'm personally going to be leading, because I'm training our leaders to be leading these from now on. So if you wanted to come to Bali, January is the time for that. January 10th through 20th, we're going to be starting the new year in the island of the gods in the most magical way, and I can't wait to share that with our group. And so everybody who is a part of our tribe and community, you can actually get 10% off of your tuition if you use my name, Dashama, and you can apply at flowstate.yoga/apply. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, many blessings, and I love you. Have a beautiful